100 days until opening day of the 2024 MLB season, so I figured why not, just talk about some of my favorite Mariners over the next 100 days. I'm going to start with my favorite Mariner on the team last year, Julio Rodriguez, and he was my favorite just because he's got that swagger, always on those commercials having fun, always hitting home runs. Him in the home run derby was amazing. Getting to watch that was absolutely amazing. Um, but he's a guy who I see the Mariners being able to build a team around over the next dozen or so years. He does have a long-term contract. That's a very interesting contract that I'll get into later. His statistics last year weren't bad. With decent amount of home runs. He's 22 years old, born December 29th, 2000, so he'll turn 23 and be 23 years old for this season. Very interesting Instagram. He's got 189 posts on Instagram, and he topped the pre-arbitration bonus pool, which he is still eligible for next year because even though he signed that extension, he will have less than 3 years of experience. It's only his third year coming in when the season starts in 100 days. Absolutely amazing stuff from Julio. Now, he's got a decent career. He's got 287 games played, 186 runs, 325 hits, 178 RBIs. He's been walked 87 times. Unfortunately, that does go along with 320 strikeouts and a batting average of 279 and 1,165 at bats. But those strikeouts and that batting average, I can live with that, especially with that home run total that he's had over the last couple of years. He doesn't just every time he hits a home run, you just like this is amazing. You just like I want to see more. And sure, he's not necessarily the greatest baseball player of all time. He did sign with the Mariners at 16 as an international free agent. He's a Dominican professional baseball center fielder for the Mariners and made his MLB debut last year, naming the All-Star game, winning a Silver Slugger, and the American League Rookie of the Year, which was amazing. Apparently, his hometown has about 20,000 people, Loma de Cabrera. He had a $1.75 million signing bonus, and I think his bonus from the pre-arb pool was just a little bit more than that, which is absolutely amazing. He did play in the Dominican League for a little while. He's got 60 home runs for an average of 30 per year, but the other thing that's really cool for him is he steals bases, 62 stolen bases, meaning that when he gets on base, he's going to get you a chance to get another base, a first base to second base. Absolutely love that. Two-time Silver Slugger, two-time All-Star, two-time Home Run Derby participant, but unfortunately never won. He's got every time I watch him in the Home Run Derby, he just goes out and in the first event, he just gets so many home runs in that first round, and then in the second round, you're like, does he have any more energy left? And then he doesn't because the other guy only hit like exactly enough home runs to win. Like however many the other guy hit plus one, and then they conserve their energy, which is I think that's the better strategy, but I also think what Julio does is way cooler. Just watching one of the best players on your team, especially last year in his home park, T-Mobile Park, just getting to a really cool thing that happened with him is he made his major league debut on my birthday, April 8th, 2022. Uh, Obviously, he didn't make his debut on my day of birth, as I'm older than him. Huh. Interesting thing that I just found out that he donated an ambulance to his hometown this year because they didn't have one, which is makes him really cool. Now I want to check out his wins above replacement because I think his wins above replacement is pretty good. Um, it's a stat that I like. I usually like using baseball reference for that. Julio Rodriguez was the top in WAR this season with 5.3, which was zero point 0.2 above JP Crawford. And I think that's just basically because of where Julio hit in the lineup versus where Crawford hit in the lineup. Crawford had no chances to really get any RBIs or anything. 180 hits this year, so still, 82 hits less than Ichiro ever got for us, but still a great player. I always find it amazing when a team can get a player like Julio Rodriguez as a young guy and see what they can do to build around him. The only thing is, I'm hoping that we don't end up having a situation like Mike Trout. Baseball Reference projects him to have 613 plate appearances, 558 at bats, 91 runs, 159 hits, uh, with 31 doubles, two triples, and only 29 home runs with 88 RBIs, 30 stolen bases on 37 attempts, walked 45 times, and it projects him to strike out 145 times with a 285 batting average with relative accuracy of 83%, um, which implies that 17% of this is regression to the mean. But he's a decent player, and I enjoy watching him play. Every time Julio comes up to bat, I just know there's a chance something good will happen. He was a big catalyst for what happened in August, where we basically won 22 or 23 games. That was an amazing month, and I'm happy to have him locked up. I don't exactly know his contract. I have to look that up again. It was a weird contract that I was very happy when we signed him to it, but I was like, okay, it means we're actually trying to do something. But I was like, it's confusing. Why is it so confusing? Because of the way that baseball contracts are, especially because you can't get statistical milestones for a um, incentive. 12-year, $209,300,000 contract, including $15 million signing bonus, an average salary of $17 million, and a base salary of $10 million for next year. Okay, so this year he only made $4 million, but because of the luxury tax, salary is $17 million every year. There's a club option in 2030 for $18 million that, if declined, becomes a player option. The club option can change. So he is basically on the Mariners until for the next 6 years, potentially up to the next 10 years, which amazingly, I think he actually might stay on the Mariners. He has a full no trade clause through the 2030 season, and then the club option, player option. The total maximum value is like $250 million for the club option. And then the player option, 8 combined Silver Slugger All Star selection appearances. He has 4 already. 1 MVP plus 2 All-Star selections. It's 5 years, 125 million. But 10 combined Silver Slugger All-Stars is 5-year, 110 for 22 million annually. That's what tells me that the Mariners were actually looking to spend money last offseason. Unfortunately, they spent some of the money in the wrong place on things like Colton Wong and um, I can't even remember the other guy. Yeah, but Colton Wong was a black hole in our lineup. But I'm glad we have Julio. As long as the Mariners have Julio Rodriguez, they have a chance to win. As long as there's players around him. Pitching is something that the Mariners have always done well in. Not worried about that, but getting somebody like Julio, absolutely amazing. So that's 100 days to go until the opening day of the 2024 Major League Baseball season, and I just felt like coming on and talking about different players every day for the next 100 days. Today's Julio Rodriguez. I don't know who tomorrow's going to be. Tomorrow might be Griffey, might be Ichiro, might be Paul Sewald. He was one of my favorite Mariners this season until, the whole situation where he got traded to the Diamondbacks. I was so happy for him when he went to the World Series because that wasn't going to happen on Seattle this year. Um, we hit 500 so many times. It made me hate the number 500. Uh, there's a lot of Mariners that have had, really good years, but unfortunately, sometimes when people leave the Mariners, they do better. And I'm glad that Julio is locked down for at least the next 6 years with a full no trade clause. I believe that also means he can't get optioned down to the minors without there being some sort of compensation or waivers or something.